Following on from both a very successful video and an outright copyright claim from Nintendo, thanks guys by the way, I've had to try to make things a little less obvious as to what it is that we're talking about. But to anyone that thought I was completely done with a little book that made its way around the internet, they would be wrong. I just needed a little bit of time to work out exactly how to make this work. Before I start entirely, I'd just like to point out that this video contains no spoiler imagery, but we will be looking at some pages from the art book. This video may creep into spoiler territory, but it will also not show anything directly. So if you've come to see the art book, then I'm sorry. Equally as a warning, I will not, nor will I condone, any posting links to the art book in the comments section. So with that being said, today's video will be a little bit different. A lot of you have some absolutely amazing theories regarding this book, and what to expect from the upcoming Tears of the Kingdom. So I thought I would take a look at the ideas you guys have, and take a look at whether or not the theories that the Zelda community have come up with are likely or not. So let's dive straight in, with more theories about Tears of the Kingdom. Theory 1. The map of the kingdom. The first micro theory that really interested me was this idea from Everything Else. With some amazing investigatory work, they lined up the map in the bottom of one of the images, and found other than water level, and some of the islands moving, the map lines up directly between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. The reason for the significance here is that the Sky Islands are not included within this particular image of the map, meaning that it is confirmed that these are not within the same time period as the main land, and that these come from elsewhere. This then makes us ask the question, where do the Sky Islands come from? I think a large part of this question is central to two things. These blue and green spirals that exude magic that could well be used to fling us up to the Sky Islands, and the rocks that fall to the land during the end of the most recent trailer. I think these things are intrinsically linked, and I'll even go so far as to merge them with another idea from the same trailer. We have this guy, a big rock golem. He is fused together by magic, the same magic used by the Zonai, or at least so it would seem. This guy seems pretty foreboding, and like he could well be a boss or a sub-boss of some design, but as he is out in the open, I presume he is not a dungeon boss of any form. So here he is, here to guard something or stop the hero from obtaining something. This could well be that whenever Link defeats one of these giant monsters, he gets a new power for his Zonai arm, but this one I'm not so sure about. I think it's more likely that the destruction of these monsters leads to more Sky Islands forming in the skies above. When one of these golems or similar creatures is defeated, it spawns a series of rocks that fall from the sky. These become the Zonai swirls that then take us back up to more Sky Islands. Either way though, these Sky Islands are from a completely different time period, and as such are either from the past or from the future. When we look at this shot, we can see in the right the graveyard and singular tree that reminisces Skyloft's graveyard. If this is indeed a part of Skyloft, then it confirms that this area is from the distant past, and the Sky Island has indeed been brought into the world from many millennia ago. This could well mean that my theories on time travel in the game are no longer quite so crazy. I really do believe that we will be closing the loop time-wise, and the only way to achieve this is by having two sections of play, one set in the past to the time of Hylia's chosen hero, and our current day Link. Does this mean that we will play as two iterations of Link though? Maybe, maybe not. I'm still not 100%, but I think we can confirm different time zones based on the map alone. Thanks Everything Else for bringing this one up. Theory 2. Rebuilding Castletown. I'll hold my hands up. There are times when my imagination likes to take control and I go off on a tangent. And there was a great image shown of a portcullis made of wood, with a wooden tower off to the right hand side and a circle inside of this. There are banners all over the place that directly replicate the Hyrule Castle banners, and the shape of the area as well as those banners led me to believe that this was based directly outside of Hyrule Castle. This would mean that it's been rebuilt, or at least is in a rebuilding phase. But all over the trailer so far, the castle is lifted from the floor via the power of Ganondorf or Demise's malice. In an earlier, now no longer available video, I made it clear that I thought this was Hyrule Castle shown in the imagery, but not from this era. I thought it may well be from the past, an era long past before stone was used in heavy fortification. The issue with this though is that this area is likely found on the surface, and if we do happen to have two Links running around, I think one is exclusive to past areas within the Sky Islands. There's also a nice circular area towards the back of the shot as well, and this mimics something directly. LV pointed out that this could well be the Sacred Ground ruins from Breath of the Wild, and you know what? It actually just may well be. It's about the right shape and size, and it could well be one of the changes to the map that we will so desperately need. We could see Hyrulean civilizations settle here, attempting to put a band-aid over the impending doom before them. As another interesting idea, the Sacred Ground ruins are a holy grounds, and this area would be filled with people. I personally love the idea, and it's only a small idea, that during the struggle between Ganon and Link, Zelda should rend this area into the sky, the same as Hylia did during the original war against Demise, bringing about a circular plot point in the time loop of the games. Either way, I think that this settlement being where the sacred ruins were is a very good shout and could well be the case for this game. Theory 3. There is a playable Zelda. Between the Japanese artwork showing her with the slate and people demanding it occur, there is a really common thought that Zelda will have playable sections within the game. Popular videos on this subject have gone over the idea that she is dead, or that she enters into the underground areas because she is dead, and this is a version of the Dark World. While I do agree that the underground areas could be a representation of the Dark World, I cannot agree that Zelda will be a playable character. And not only that, but time for an unpopular opinion here, I don't believe that she should be a playable character in the game. So first let's cover why she won't be, and then I'll justify my opinion after. First of all, let's take a look at the evidence. There are shots that we see of her with the slate, a new and improved slate that looks so much more like a Nintendo Switch. First of all, in this image, she has the slate firmly clutched in her hands. I've been through this slate before in great detail, and it looks like it will involve time travel to some degree due to the hands on the back of it. I mean, it looks like a clock. Now the slate being in Zelda's possession is the reason everyone expects her to be playable, but this isn't the first time she has had this in her hands. Remember, during multiple of the forgotten memories in Breath of the Wild, Zelda is actually the person that wields the slate, not Link. The biggest indication though that she is not playable is that Link has the slate in Tears of the Kingdom. It is seen on a shot where we see different sides of the slate, and the cable that attaches to Link's waist. The cable is seen in the form of a spool, held by this guardian's hand around the edge of the teleport pad here. It's evident that these teleport pads are activated via the Sheikah slate being plugged into them, so to speak. And seeing as the back of the slate has 3 hands, I would imagine time travel being related somehow to these teleport pads. There is actually no evidence at all that Zelda is playable. In fact, maybe it's even to the contrary. Zelda is shown in the very first teaser trailer, and then updated later on, falling into an abyss following a malice attack from Ganon. She falls deeper and deeper into the abyss, and just as Link reaches out for her, as he is forced into the darkness also, another hand seemingly grabs her, judging by the first trailer at least. We then see later on someone who is seemingly of the royal line shaking hands with a figure from the tableau. My best estimation here is that Zelda is sealed away in order to complete her transition into the goddess Hylia, while Link needs to find her as well as the 7 Tears of the Kingdom to restore the Master Sword. He finally reaches 6 of them, and she reappears along with the 7th tear. I can't see Zelda being playable, as this would kill the suspense about whether she is alive or not. So I'm going to say a big no on this one. Zelda will not be playable in this game. I'm sorry guys. But not only that though, like I said before, Zelda shouldn't be playable. For a start, the gameplay would be far too varied with her involved also. It may well produce a game that's a bit too messy, and her sections would mean that we would need to play with more stealth. A game of this scope shouldn't be suspect to stealth unless the player chooses to play in that way. And forcing that could actually cause some players to feel disappointed or dejected in the style of play that she could bring. Also, the idea of a hero trying to find the princess is a staple part of the Zelda games. And yes, I'm aware that we're in 2023, but let's also not fix something if it's not broken. Theory 4. Loftwings. I nearly didn't include this one, but let's clear this one out pretty quickly. Everyone seems to be clamouring for the Loftwing return back to Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm going to rain on everyone's parade now. It's not happening. We would have seen something about them by now, but there's nothing at all. Not only that, but we've actually been given proof that they won't appear. Let's take a look at the array of travelling tools that we already have. In addition to the paraglider, we have these fun looking flying machines. We also have cars, hot air balloons and possible teleportation. On top of all of that, we can customise and build most of the vehicles that we will get to ride. Let's not forget that we had Loftwings in Skyward Sword because we had such an area to traverse with no transport otherwise. This game was set pre-technological era, and things were as primitive as we could get. We didn't even have horses, as they would be pretty redundant. So these magnificent winged beasts took their spot as the canonical animal of choice. In this iteration of the Zelda series, we do not need another way to travel, and Loftwings will only muddy the water further. They are unneeded in a technical age and irrelevant. The best thing we can hope for with Loftwings is that the flying machines adopt a version of their names, but honestly, I don't see Loftwings returning. Theory 5. The Minish. So this is where we're going to wrap up today with this fifth theory, being that the game will include the Minish. In the trailers we see this area, which I'm now naming as the Dark World, though it could well just be underground. This area is filled with odd fauna and trees that have a varying amount of theories surrounding them. I believe that these have more to do with collecting map information or an access point into the underground section, and not what some people may well believe them to be, a point where Link shrinks down to find an old familiar race, one that has not been around since the Minish Cap, the Picori. The Picori are a race of incredibly small people that the hero can only speak to once he has acquired both the Minish Cap, or Eslo, and the Jabbernuts. They are incredibly smart, somewhat magical, and have a Master Smith in their ranks. They are in essence the focal point of the Minish Cap, and there were rumours back before Breath of the Wild launched that they would take part in the world then. In March 2017, Nintendo released some early footage of Breath of the Wild, and Link speaking directly to some tiny people inside of a tiny village. The director of the game, Hidemaru Fujibayashi, actually expressed regret in not managing to fit them into the overall theme of the game, and therefore having to cut them. All of this goes hand in hand with some new images of some people wearing some mushroom garments that led to an overwhelming belief that the Minish are back. Being realistic about it, when I first saw these images I believed wholeheartedly that that was the case, and that we were looking at the Minish returning. And I still think this. This tribe of mushroom people are highlighted quite a lot. They are heavily forest themed, wearing clothing that from certain angles looks just like the underside of a mushroom design from the Mario games. These guys lean far too much into the mushroom theme for it to be a coincidence, and they are, for 100%, all a form of the same tribe. But it's now unclear on whether these guys are the same size or smaller than Link. The defining feature of the Minish is that they are small, too small to be seen by the naked eye. If these guys end up the same size as Link, then the Minish are not reappearing, but we may not find that out until May 12th. However, with us going above ground and underground, now is the right time to pull the trigger on the Minish reappearing. We could well have the Minish on the surface level, as it were, in small areas which we could only access by shrinking down, which could well be via these odd trees. We could also have a reference back to the Sky Tribe, who could now also be known as the Zonai. With so many terrain types, this Zelda game could be even bigger than we expected, and its ambition could know no end. But that's also what could stand in the way of the Minish returning. We have so much going on already that would adding the Minish back to the series actually end up overwhelming the player? It could be deemed as too much, especially when we already have so much going on between the skies, the land and the underground. And it could be a bridge slightly too far. It could well be that these guys are a forest based tribe, and one of their leaders forms an important part of the story, similar to Daruk, Urbosa, Rivali and Mifa. I think for certain that we will get more designs of the divine beasts as seen by the etchings in the floor, especially this one in the appearance of Varuta, and another that's been shown in the form of a giant scorpion. This could open the way for more champions to be formed, and one such champion could come from a forest area. But at this time I'm going to go with the common consensus, but more in hope than anything. I think that these little mushroom people are indeed a new iteration of the Minish, and they're going to form a really big part of the storyline to come in Tears of the Kingdom. They will be a welcome addition, as we could always use more variation in characters, and we've even been told that the development team wished to implement them previously and regretted not being able to do so. So that's it. 5 theories that you guys have all come up with based on everything that we've seen from the game so far. I've given my feedback on your theories, but what about everyone else in this community? If you have any other theories for Tears of the Kingdom or ideas about what could be to come, please get involved in the comment section, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Zelda related content. See you next time, bye!